Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of The Final Countdown. This is the show where we count down the top 5 of whatever I feel like counting down that month. I am James Phoenix. With me today is Chriz the Mole.
Yep. And there'll be 2 this month because you can't even remember it.
Yes, unfortunately, there was a snafu on my part about the countdown, which was going to happen this past Sunday, so we're doing it on today, which is actually the 1st of December.
Yep. I had to say that because you literally just introduced it as whatever I feel like counting down that month on the one when we're actually on the first one when we're doing 2 that month.
Fair enough. At any rate, this month, or the first one for this month, we are going to be counting down the top 5 villain groups, continuing our theme of the year of villains that we've done on the countdown all this year. So, per the usual, I guess we'll let Mole go first so that I can end up at the end when we get to the end. So we'll start with number 5, Mole.
Number 5. I use that picture just because there's been a lot of them over the years. Sinister Six from Spider-Man.
Okay.
The only reason they're so low on my list is while they're made up of people I actually prefer to some other groups, they're constantly defeated just by one guy. Easily. Like a lot of times, Spider-Man just beats them with ease, and you're like, "There's 6 versus 1. Come on."
Fair enough.
Yep, Sinister Six, because they've had. Like I said, I used that because there's been various incarnations of various different people.
There have.
So I think, an image of a lot of his rogues gallery would cover most lineups.
That's true. That's true. All right, my number 6 I put on here. This is not number 5. Sorry, number 5 here. I put on here because it's not particularly famous villain group or one that is overly effective per se. I put it on just because of this was a comedy group and the uniqueness and hilariousness of the concept. Just because it was like such a clever thing that they actually did this whole thing. This is the Beatles. Remember them?
Yes.
Of course, the Powerpuff Girls was a great show, and they did an episode where they took 4 of the primary villains, that's being Mojo Jojo, Princess Morbucks, Fuzzy Lumpkins, and him, and they formed a villainous group known as the Beatles, of course, an obvious parody of the Beatles in many forms, where the villains, by convenience, all tried to attack the Powerpuff Girls at the same time and realized that when they worked together, they could actually defeat them, whereas none of them could defeat them alone. So they started teaming up and basically ransacking Townsville because the girls couldn't stop them until the brilliant idea of a female monkey, a Yoko Ono parody, began having a thing with Mojo over here. And of course, much like the Beatles of which they are parodying, broke the group up. It was just hilariously awesome. They came up with that idea, and I just thought it was fun.
Oh, that's funny.
All right. Mole number 4.
Number 4. Just make sure it doesn't go off. Villain New Force. A parody of the horribleness that is Sentai, or over here Power Rangers. But they're just hilarious. They're a hilarious group. And unlike Sinister Six, they were actually a major threat to the heroes. Yeah, Goku ends up taking out most of them. But even when he's taken out all of them but Ginyu still swaps bodies with him and becomes a threat again. And you're like, wait, what? So yeah, that's cool. I like that. They're a constant threat, they're funny, and they're just a great underling group.
And they're incredibly good at posing.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, my number 4. Let's see, which one was I going to throw in here at 4? Right, this one. Now, of course, these are the Disney villains. They've been used in a variety of incarnations, but I'm counting them as the Overtakers from the Kingdom Keepers book series, because I feel that was a better use to the characters than in Kingdom Hearts, as much as I do like Kingdom Hearts. But the Overtakers are a group of Disney villains who, in the Kingdom Keepers book series, are turned out to be real due to belief in them. It's a magic thing. And they team up with the intent of trying to take over the Disney parks and inevitably destroy the company. And some children who are recruited and given abilities via being turned into holograms have to fight them off. It's kind of weird, but it's awesome. And the villains were the villain group was really well done because over the course of the 7 books, now 10, with the sequel trilogy, we got to see a wide array of these villains in different forms and how they could be threatening, in a real world context, especially because a lot of them were incarnations not totally in line with their movie counterparts. So it was interesting to see how those changes made the villains a little more threatening or a little more different and unique, and how it would be, what it would be like if these villains transferred into a real world context. So I thought it was a lot of fun. Yeah. And over to Mole.
Yep. Question for you, Jim.
Yes.
You've just defeated a god. Who do you face next?
Another god?
How would you top a god?
I don't know.
How about 3 random nerds from the high school randomly teaming up for a season?
Ha!
This is the trio from Buffy. One does technology, one does summoning demons, and one does spell casting. And together, the 3 of them actually are pretty effective as a group. They make like Robot Buffy. One of them makes Robot Buffy. They basically put her in a Groundhog Day Groundhog Day spell on one episode and stuff. Hell, they even effectively kill a main character.
Really?
Yep, they kill Willow's girlfriend, and it sets her off on this evil phase because she just goes, as one of them calls it, all Dark Phoenix on them.
Ah.
Like her hair goes black, she goes scary and veiny and tries to just murder them.
Oh my.
And guess how they kill her? After bear in mind, Buffy has loads of spells, magic, technology. Guess how they kill her?
Gun.
Yep. And it was actually really effective.
Cool.
Not sure if you've seen anything of that, but
I have not.
it was amazing. He just walks up into her back garden with a gun, points it to shoot, and it just goes down and goes up and kills her in the bedroom right in front of her. And you're like, oh my god, that's fucking amazing.
Wow.
No one thought to do that. Well, technically Spike thought to do that, but he decided not to because he walked around when he had a chip in his head with a shotgun to kill Buffy. He's like, whenever, because he had the chip in his head, that means if he hurts someone, he gets hurt. Or vampires, as the government tried. And he goes, you know what? It's worth it. I don't care if this is gonna fucking hurt me for like a year with a headache. She'll be dead, and that's all that matters. When he's crying on her doorstep and just sort of puts the gun down, sits down, just sort of like pats her on the back, and you're like, what? Which is cool because it's right around the phase where he starts to fall in love with her, and you can tell he genuinely likes her. Like he sees her upset, and he's like, oh, I just want to help her.
Aw.
But yeah, the trio.
Nice.
Which I'll play up again. Which is Warren, Andrew, and Jonathan.
Okay. That's cool.
Such a great way to top God.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. All right. Let's go on over here. So what am I going to do for this? All right. So my number 3 over here, The Suicide Squad. Because that was an enjoyable movie. I haven't really seen a lot of the comics with them. Does it not? I mean, they're a group of villains.
But once they've become a group, they're heroes.
But the entire premise is that they're a group of villains being forced to act as heroes because there's bombs in their heads.
The whole time, like, Deadshot deliberately misses Harley and stuff. They're not really bad people. They learn to be good throughout the whole film.
That's fair.
They're kind of anti-heroes.
Okay.
But you can count Suicide Squad.
Yeah. It was an enjoyable movie just because the uniqueness of all the different characters and them having to come together and work together and seeing all the different egos and aspects and how, these, generally bad people can do some good and, how they might get around doing that good to still be a little evil. So it's just a lot of fun. It was just an enjoyable film. Oh, good times. All right. Back to Mole.
Begin Justice League.
Nice.
which people will know in Justice League is the group in the comics. It's basically formed by, I think it was a memo, and Lex and shit get together. It's basically an evil Justice League to take them on. It's awesome. There is a group very similar called Legion of Doom, but as everyone knows, they actually started in, I think it was Legends of Super Friends, or whatever the fuck that show was called. They're not actually a comic group from the get-go. These were the comic version.
Gotcha. Over here, I think the cartoon was just called Super Friends, but I could be wrong.
There was Super Friends, but there was also something like Legion of Super Friends or something at first. Like, it had a bigger title over there.
Okay.
As well.
All right.
You shall.
You
Do
shall.
what Jim normally does. Challenge of the Super Friends.
Ah, okay. Fair enough. Cool.
Which Challenge of the Super Friends is where they debuted.
Good to know.
Which, yes, Challenge of the Super Friends, just for Jim, is an American animated TV show about a team of superheroes. Ran from September 9th, 1978 to September 23rd, 1978 on NBC. The complete series, 16 episodes, was produced by Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah. Okay.
It was the third series of Super Friends cartoons, following Super Friends and the all-new Super Friends Hour.
Oh.
So yeah, Challenge of the Super Friends is where this one came from.
Okay. Cool. I like it. I don't know. Anywho.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Moving back over to me. My number 2.
Remember him.
We're on number 2, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, I couldn't. Obviously, I used the other ones for the Overtakers. I did say I liked Kingdom Hearts. So, Organization 13. This is the original version as debuted in Kingdom Hearts 2 because the All Xehanort version hasn't been completed yet, so I'm not using that.
Wouldn't they count as the same thing?
No, because the villains were because these were the nobodies, whereas Maleficent's group were using Heartless. That was different.
But they were working together.
But they weren't. Not really. Maleficent was being used by them, but they were not working together.
She was being used by them, but they were in fact working together.
Yeah.
It was one of the rules me and Pew literally said to you at one point was, if you use any villains from Kingdom Hearts, you can't use them in Kingdom Keepers because the same group has teamed with them, so it counts as the same thing.
So now we kind of just two groups that happened to work together, but they were still separate groups. Because by the time they came around, most of the Disney villains were not working together more anyway. It was only Maleficent and Pete.
To be fair, they literally came about because most of the villains, we only really introduced them, shoehorned them in the second game, but they still count as a continuation.
I disagree because they were a nobody group that was separate from the thing Maleficent was doing. It was kind of established that way. But whatever. I do have another option if you don't like that one.
No, like I said, you can still count them. It's just really funny. It's just really funny that was the one rule me and Pew had said to you, and you'd agreed on. Didn't show up for the meeting. Showed up now, just disobeyed the rules.
I'm sorry. The rule was Disney characters, as I understood it. These are not Disney characters. They are a separate villain group. I consider it acceptable. Anyway, Organization 13. These are a group of 13 villains who are nobodies, beings established in the Kingdom Hearts universe as what is formed when a body and soul is left behind after the creation of a Heartless. And they form this Organization of Darkness in the attempt to build a Kingdom Hearts out of the hearts of beings in order to restore themselves and get themselves hearts again so they can consider themselves beings again. And they are led by Xemnas, who's in the center there. And you battle them throughout the course of both the Game Boy Advance game, Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, and then also Kingdom Hearts 2, with a couple of them surviving through later games and continuing on. And they're just a really effective, intimidating villain group. They had a wide variety of weapons and fighting styles. They all wore those black cloaks that are really cool. They were just a great villain group, and I like that there's some incarnation of them still running. So, very cool. And back over to Mole for number 1.
Number 1. The Crime Syndicate.
That's a good choice. I didn't think about them.
Because, yeah, they're basically just the Justice League from another world. As you can see when you go down the side there, you've got Johnny Quick, Owlman, Power Ring, Superwoman, and Ultraman. You can see them all down the side. The Crime Syndicate, it's literally what if the Justice League were evil. And unlike Injustice, the concept works.
Indeed. Also, obviously, he wasn't in the earlier versions, but also honorable mention to Gear, who was the Crime Syndicate equivalent of Cyborg later on, because that was a cool idea, too, where he was just a full robot.
Oh, yeah, they've had a few other ones. I just really like that picture.
Yeah, that's a good picture.
I also find it funny that most people's are a play on their names or what they are and stuff, like Johnny Quick, Flash, Power Ring. You're like, that's literally just describing the weapon he uses. At that point, you might as well just call Flash shoes.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I do like them, like Superwoman and Ultraman and stuff. It's a cool concept.
Yeah.
And there is a cool animated film about them if people want to check it out.
Oh, I'll have to watch that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it's called Crisis on Two Earths.
Cool. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I know. I saw the version of the familiarized with the version of the Crime Syndicate that was in the New 52 a year or two ago, and that was a pretty cool version too.
Yep.
Fair enough. Well, sticking with DC to wrap this up, I know you mentioned them earlier, but I'm going to throw them up here too, and that's the Injustice League. This is the New 52 version that was founded by Lex, because that's the version that I have experience with.
Were you effectively gonna call them Legion of Doom?
No.
Okay. Because I know so many people just because DCUO and a couple of cartoons only refer to them as Legion of Doom. You're like, no, it's a different group.
Yeah, I actually checked because I'm like, that's a cool villain group. Does that have a name? And I checked, and it was listed as a version of the Injustice League. I'm like, okay, cool, that'll work.
Yeah, which is also why, like, at the end of spoiler Justice League, Lex says we need to form our own league. It's gonna be Injustice League. It's not gonna be we need to form our own of Doom.
Yeah,
that just doesn't work.
No,
also that doesn't work as a sentence either. But
no, our own Legion. But no,
let's
why?
form our own of Doom.
Yes. But yes, this version was formed primarily in the New 52 arc, Forever Evil, which I do recommend people go read. It was pretty good. It actually, ironically, since it came up, it's the Crime Syndicate came over from Earth 3 and basically killed the Justice League and had taken over the world. So Lex put together this Justice League of villains to shut them down.
Spoiler, they got better.
Yeah, pretty much. But this is a really great job. It started off with Lex and Bizarro, and then it just kind of went from there and grew to include a whole lot of other villains. And it was just really fun seeing the villains get to go to town.
Yep, so. And I will also say, for that group, I had one complaint with that group.
Okay.
Top left corner. Harley Quinn.
Ah.
By that point, she was actually already pretty much getting her own comics, and in Suicide Squad, she was kind of an anti-hero.
Ah.
More when she was a flat-out villain at that point. Same thing, you could count Catwoman. It's like, they're not really villains, come on.
True. Well, I could see putting Harley in there because they didn't really have Joker as an option because he cut his face off and disappeared during that period of time.
Yeah, that is true. They don't have a Joker option, but she deserves more than just being, oh, we don't have Joker, let's use Harley.
True. She does deserve more. She is a good character. So, yeah.
And spoilers, when we get to it, you're going to see more on Harley for the upcoming Batman Telltale Season 2.
Yes. That's going to be
in
good.
Which they do use it in a very different way.
Oh, all right. So that was our final countdown, top 5 villain groups. Stay tuned for next month where we wrap up the year of villains with our the end of this month, our what was our official December theme before this got pushed back of Christmas villains.
Which, of course, has to be, as I mentioned, King Harold.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're blasphemous for calling it Christmas.
Yes.
No. The obvious answer is Hans Gruber.
Yes. Related note.
Single greatest Alan Rickman role.
On a related note, by the way, during the course of this month, we will be reviewing a lot of Christmas movies and TV shows, including Die Hard.
Yep. Which, like I said, that is his greatest role. I love him in a lot of other stuff, but is Hans Gruber. I don't know why he's just so hateable in such a great way, if that makes sense. Like, you really want to just see Bruce. You just really just want to see Bruce Willis kill him.
Nice.
I like him.
Cool.
Has Jim ever seen Die Hard?
I don't think I've seen the whole thing, which is why I'm looking forward to this review, because I've always wanted to.
You gotta die
Die hard. I know the song. All right. So, like I said, this has been the Overtakers.
Which, fun fact for you,
Yes.
that name comes from the fact that this film is actually produced in Germany, where it's just known as The Hard.
No, it's not.
It's true. Look it up.
Yeah, okay.
Just give me a few minutes to go edit Wikipedia.
Yes.
The one source of your weakness is the fact that anyone can edit it. Wait, according to Wikipedia, I don't exist, and he just fades out of existence. But there's been honourable mentions across the board. Like, there's been loads of great villain groups.
Oh, totally, yeah.
One I almost put on the list, but I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't even count them as a villain group. Was Addams Family?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't count them as a villain group because they weren't really villains. Just everyone sees them as villains.
Yeah. And I was trying to come up with one in terms of anything in Marvel that really jumped out. I mean, the only thing that really stuck out was the Brotherhood of Mutants, and really, aside from the movies, I haven't really seen that much about them. So,
Fuck you.
What?
My list had Sinister Six. Fuck you.
Oh, you're right, Sinister Six. That's true. That didn't come to my mind. I don't know why when I was creating the list, but
yeah, I'll admit I did. I loved Brotherhood of Mutants, but I really liked the Sinister Six more, just because, as much as I like all of the Brotherhood, most Spider-Man villains are like, I put Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery up there with Batman's.
Yes, I can agree with that.
Honorable mention to Batman the movie with Adam West, where all of Batman's movie characters team up in one.
That was a great movie. I have seen that movie.
I'm joking, I'm not giving that an honorable mention.
I do like that
film. I do like that film, but come on, they've teamed up in other stuff like we mentioned in Justice League. We don't really need to include that one.
That's true. That's true. I don't know. Also, I hadn't even seen because any of them. We joked about the Psycho Rangers, but actually, not to them, but honorable mention to the United Alliance of Evil from Power Rangers, where all the villains from the first 6 seasons teamed up, because that was cool.
Yep. They did.
Indeed. All right. This has been the final countdown. We will see you at the end of this month after many Christmas reviews, and we'll do Christmas villains.
I can give an honorable mention to that episode of Ninja Storm, where basically Tori met the crime syndicate of Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. I forgot about that episode. That was a good one. Lothar was the mayor.
I love all the villains were just cowardly and just brown, and everyone's just accepted. Well, they're fine, they're friendly, they're nice, we like them.
That was good.
Which I argue doesn't happen in Power Rangers, because even if a friendly monster shows up, all the people go, and turn into Japanese people randomly.
Yeah.
And then back to American people and back to Japan. I don't know, it's weird. It's like they're using two different shows and just splicing them together in a really shitty way that should be avoided with human eyes.
I know, it makes no sense.
It's weird. Also, an actual honorable mention, the Sith.
That's true.
Or the Empire, depending on which one you want to go with.
Yeah. Because with the Sith, always two there are. Is that really a group?
Before Disney did what they did, we had the Old Republic era, where the Sith was as big as Jedi. Like, they were a big order of Sith. It was cool.
Oh, so that was like pre-Darth Bane?
Pretty much, kind of.
Gotcha.
But it was just awesome. Where you got all the Sith like that, and you're like, oh, that's so cool.
Cool. Alrighty. We will see you next time, folks. Thanks for joining us. Peace.